Okay, this will be the demonstration for the soft support wrist tape that we talked about in class. This will just be general support on the lower part of the forearm, go through the hand on both sides, and just kind of give some general overall support to the wrist. Start with our pre-wrap. We're going to cover about the lower third of the forearm. Direction doesn't matter, just get an even layer. Once you get around the wrist, now we're going to go to the hand. They're going to have their hand open in neutral position like this the entire time you do the wrap. Go through the hand, come underneath. I just do like a figure 8 motion to do that. You'll see she has coverage on the underside. And then just finish off by going towards your starting point. Next we'll take our 2-inch elastic tape. We're going to start on the posterior aspect, so that's the side that's facing you. And we're going to go towards the ulna first, so that's going to be towards the outside of the forearm. With about 75% tension, I'm just going to make continuous slaps around the arm, overlapping by about half the width of the tape each time. Once I get to the wrist, now I'm going to start to angle towards the finger, the pinky side, following my pre-wrap, coming underneath. Go ahead, flip over for me. Following my pre-wrap again, and when I get to the web space here, that's where I'm going to give a little bit of a pinch. Continue back across the hand where the pre-wrap is. I'm going to do 2 layers of the exact same thing. A little pinch, come around, and then I will just finish by going back up and around the forearm to my starting point. And I will take the regular 1.5-inch white tape, 1 revolution or just a strip, doesn't matter, just going to secure that loose end of the stretchy tape, and that would be our wrap. So we've got the lower forearm covered, back of the hand, under the hand. It's not too tight, gives her some general extension support, flexion support, just kind of overall some pretty mobile, but supportive enough to at least get some sort of achievement there. Okay. All right, this will be the demonstration for the firm support wrist tape that we did in class. So we're going to be using our 1.5-inch regular white tape. We're just going to do the one that's labeled into the hand on the handout. So we're going to cover the lower forearm, just do 2 passes through the hand and then close that off. And in the next one I'll show you how to do the X strips in combination with that tape application. So cover the lower third of the forearm with the pre-wrap. Again, direction doesn't matter, just cover the whole thing. Have them open up their hand. Do 2 layers through the hand. Finish back up around the wrist. We're going to start with just a series of anchors, working our way down from our starting point, overlapping each time until we get to the base of the wrist. And these can go pretty much straight across. Unless someone has a really round forearm, you don't really need to worry about the angles like you did with the ankle tape. Everyone's lower forearm tends to be pretty straight and less of a cone as opposed to the lower leg. So for her, it took me 4 to get to the base of the wrist, overlap the entire way down. Now we're going to take that tape and start over the center back side of the hand, and we're going to angle towards the ulna. So radius is on the inside here, ulna is on the pinky side. So I'm going to start kind of right over the back of the hand where she would flex and extend. Go towards the ulna. I'm going to come all the way around until I get over my starting point. From there, I'm going to have you drop your hand. I'm going to angle a little bit towards the pinky now. Come under through the hand. As I approach that web space, that's where I'll give my little pinch, so she doesn't have a tough edge in there. Let that lay down right across. You don't have to pull that one too tight. And then trace it back over the top. Come around and you'll finish pretty much right where you started. So that's 1 layer. We're going to do 2 passes of that, the exact same thing. So center of the back of the hand, go towards the ulna. Once you've done that revolution, you're going to angle towards the pinky. Come underneath. Pinch through the web space, smooth that down, trace it over the top, come around, finish a little bit where I started, and then I would just close off in, going with anchors, down the forearm, back to my starting point, a little bit of overlap each time. So this is going to be a little bit more rigid support, but the exact same path that we followed with the soft support tape. Okay, next demonstration is going to be the into the hand with the X strip. So we're looking for a little bit more rigid support, either to limit their flexion or to limit the wrist extension. So we'll do just like we did through the into the hand tape and the way we've been doing the wrist the entire time. So lower forearm gets pre-wrapped all the way through the hand, 2 layers. Then we'll start with our anchors, working our way down. Alright, so we're going to do our anchors, straight strips across and around, overlapping, working our way down to the wrist. Now that I've gotten to the wrist, I'll do one pass of the into the hand, so starting over the center back side, going towards the ulna side first, coming around, crossing my starting point, aiming towards the pinky, angle a little bit now, coming underneath, pinch the tape, up and over the top, come around to the starting point. So that's our base layer. Now we're going to introduce the strips. We're going to say she had a bad injury where she fell on an outstretched hand. She's really sore being pushed into extension, so we're going to give her some rigid support on the underside here. Same tape. I'm just going to get a quick little measurement. I'll look for the tape to the hand and about 3/4 of the way down the forearm to measure my strip. Tear that off. You can set that on a table, whatever's good for you, doesn't matter. But I'll get 3 strips of equal length, and I'll just overlap them and make a little bit of a fan, which as soon as I'm done, I'll show you that. Okay, so I've just kind of overlapped them in a little bit of a fan. A little wrinkle, that's okay. So I'm going to line this up, try and match it up with the tape on her hand, and then smooth it down on the forearm. Get some good coverage there. Now I'm going to do another layer of the into the hand to lock that in place. Close to your hand, go towards the ulna, over the back side, play with your angle a little bit, there we go. Pinch through the web space, up and over the top of the hand, come back around to the back side. So you see that kind of covered those loose ends of the strip into the hand. You can smooth that down, make sure everything lines up. And then from here, we're just going to close off, working down the forearm to the starting point. A little wrinkly today, but that's okay. So she's got full coverage, both sides, and a strong limit into extension. And again, if we wanted to limit flexion on the other side, we'd just do the X strip on this side, and that would limit her going down. Last will be the demonstration for the wrist and the hand of the thumb spica tape. So if someone is either hyperextended or hyperabducted their thumb, they're really sore in this joint here, and we want to give that some support. So since the most common injury is to be pulled away, we're going to try and pull a little bit closed to the hand for the tape application. Start right around the wrist. We're just going to do a quick layer of pre-wrap around the wrist. And then I'm just going to go up to the thumb joint. This is the area we want to cover here. So I'm just going to do a figure 8. I'll come around the back side. I'll come underneath, over the top. So I've made like a little X. And come around, and that should be enough. You can do 2 layers if you want. For shortness of the video, I'm just going to do 1 layer. So we're going to leave them in this position, kind of have the fingers open. We're going to start and build our base on the wrist. So we're going to use our 1.5-inch white tape. And I'm just going to put an anchor around the wrist so we have somewhere to secure our strips for the thumb. Once we've got that, now we're going to use the skinny 1-inch stretchy tape. I'm going to start on the back side here, start right over the radius, and I'm going to aim towards the ulna, which is the outside. I'm going to do 1 full revolution, so passing over that starting point, coming around again. As I come around for my second pass and I'm approaching this thumb joint, that's where I'm going to now cover it. So I'm going to come straight over the back side, through the web space, and there we're going to make sure they don't open their hand too much, so I'm going to have her close that a little bit, deliberately, because that's what we want to protect. And I'm going to come right over the back of the hand, and I'm going to do 3 passes overlapping a little bit each time. So I'll pull her out to let myself get through, but then we're going to deliberately have her kind of keep it close. I'm going to try and cover this pre-wrap with each layer. So you kind of play with your angles, you can change it up, you have a lot of ability to move this tape around and make it work for you, as opposed to the rigid white tape. So now I've done 3 passes, the entire joint's covered. I'll finish usually coming around the wrist, tear that off, and then we're going to cover that with 1 more anchor strip to lock it all in place. So you see we've covered this entire joint. It extends a little bit under her hand. This would just get torn away. That's just for cosmetics. And now she's got a little bit of restriction for abduction and extension and a little bit of flexion as well. Moving on to the shoulder, now we're going to do the shoulder spike wrap we instructed in class. This is primarily for those people who have that frontal stability or being up in the external rotation and abducted position causes them discomfort or some joint instability. So we're going to try and keep them down and in with the wrap. So we've got the 6-inch double length, double wide. We're going to start on the front of the humerus here, and we're going to go towards the medial aspect first and posteriorly. So hold that in place. They can help you if they need to. get at least one revolution around the arm to cover that end. I usually get to my second one, and that's where I'm going to start to come across the front of the shoulder. Come straight across. So here's the front of the shoulder joint. That's the main area we want to cover. Coming straight across underneath the opposite arm. So have them lift that other arm. Underneath. Come around the top, pulling down on the shoulder, making a little X over the front of the shoulder there. And I'm going to continue these motions, not too much overlap, but just continuous over the same area until I run out of wrap. For somebody smaller like Aubrey here, probably at least three revolutions. For larger people, may only get 2. This is nice that the wrap ends right here, but wherever the wrap ends, try and have them hold it for you. So it's convenient she can reach that. Now I'm going to go to my 2-inch stretch tape, and I'm going to cover that entire wrap that I just did. So I'll just start over my loose end, around the arm, coming over and across, back over the top, crossing the front of the shoulder, and I like to finish around the arm, because then it's very easy to put a strip of regular white tape right over that loose end, so it doesn't catch on anything, and this would be the wrap.